This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojcicki and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojcicki. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G, on the Twitter sphere. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what's up?
You know, I'm trying to have some fun tonight.
Uh-oh.
Because I've got a few things I'm excited for.
Uh-oh.
But first I'll say why I'm not too happy.
So many emotions.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've got this huge, and I don't want to even talk about it, but I've got this huge internal zit on my nose. It's annoying me like to hell. I'm working.
Good thing we're a podcast.
Exactly. I'm working nonstop, like I've been saying for weeks. And I'm not too sure what happened, but I've had I don't know what's going on, 3 zits on my nose within the last week and a half. And then this internal one that's been bothering me already for 3-4 days. I think it's hit its max tonight. Yesterday at work, Roger Peterson, the other employees that we have at City, they're all calling me Rudolph. I'm like Peter the red-nosed freaking podcaster here. It's
I like it.
So annoying.
I like the name, Rudolph. Perfect.
Yeah. So, yeah, my nose is bright red. Even Danielle was like, oh, it's that cold outside? I'm like, no, I've got a huge internal zit. It's bothering the hell out of me.
Look at you just name dropping. Jeez.
Yes.
Big wig.
No, only because these people are they were talking about it too. It was so noticeable how bright my nose is. So I'm going to have to bright Santa's sleigh in the next few weeks. But other than that, I couldn't go to sleep for the last few days. It's so bothering me so much. I've been trying different what's called home remedies, putting some lard fat in my nose. That's what I've been told. My mom
in your nose.
In my nose internally in that area, and it's so painful to even touch my nose. Oh my god, I can't even blow it right now. Moving on from that, I'm excited though about tonight. This show is going to be great. And I'm also opened up some Glenlivet, 15 years aged. I usually go with the 12 because it's only $50. This one's usually $30 more, but it was on sale, $10 less at the LCBO. Go check it out, folks. Paul, what are you drinking right now?
I'm pretty sure Wiser's and Coke.
So
we're letting out our secret that we have some drinks during our podcast. Uh-oh.
Today I'm doing it for sure because I'm happy about that. I want to get my mind off my nose.
Well, and we're going on hiatus, so
we are going on a hiatus.
It's kind of like our Christmas break, early Christmas
Paul
break.
Needs a break. I need a break because I'm working so much that I can't even do a podcast. And I'm even happier for tonight that finally I get to play NHL 17 with my buds. Joey and Jay are out there. They're probably not even listening to this.
They are listening. They're your buddies. They have to listen, or else they're not your buddies.
They do once in a while. They follow us on Twitter. They do follow the website. I don't think they follow the actual podcast so often, every episode. But they do listen to it once in a while. But I get to play NHL 17 with them tonight, and they're probably going to be so bad because they both just bought NHL last week. One hasn't even opened it up. He's opening it up right now as we speak, so we can play tonight. I just made a team. I think I called them Humberside Snow Leopards. I was on the fence between leopards and maybe lynx in terms of being Canadian, and we all went to Humber College for web design. Of course, I'm not the web designer of our website, Paul is, because I'm not that good at it. I like more producing side. So I get to play with them tonight, so that's going to be fun.
Awesome. I'm also excited because
what are you excited for?
I have a cousin that listens, and he doesn't know that I'm about to shout this out, but he just got engaged, so congratulations, Derek Zwambag. He doesn't even like hockey, Peter, and he listens.
Nice.
We're getting him into hockey. His brother's a hockey player. He never really enjoyed it, but he listens religiously. Every episode he'll listen to. He's a big podcast fan, so he heard we were doing a podcast and was like, sure, I'll listen. My cousin, cool. So congratulations, Derek.
Yes. Thank you for listening as well, Derek. All right. So this is the part where we talk about making our Saturday's picks and how did they go last week. How did they go, Paul, last week?
They went 5-6 for you. Not so good, Peter. 7-5. I'm turning it around.
turnaround. I think that was the first week in like 5 or 6 weeks that I wasn't above 500. So
Yeah, we only
yeah,
had 3 different picks between the two of us, and
yeah,
I went 2-1, and you went 1-2. So
yeah,
that's what made the difference.
yeah. So and stay tuned till the end of this episode when we actually make our Saturday's picks in the episode. We haven't done that since last year
It's
because
back.
it is back. Because I thought, since we're doing the podcast on Friday, we usually do them on Thursday. Let's do them in the episode. So stay tuned for that. What else do we have this episode? We are team ISOing the New York Islanders with special guest Christian Arnold. He's going to be on soon. We're also doing our All-Star picks. Both me and Paul have our own teams that we made for each division, and we also put the poll out there. We're going to be talking about what people picked for the captain of each team. And then we have one trade rumor that we're going to talk about that maybe could go with Montreal. Let's see what happens. And Paul's going to finish up with some fantasy up and down. But first, trending now. Few things. The first small little thing is for my Maple Leafs. They finally traded Peter Holland. He's going to Arizona, the desert, for a conditional 6th-round pick. And in 2018, though, not this year, 2018, or this coming year. So it's very odd, and nobody really knows what the conditional part is. So we'll see what happens with that. I actually thought he might have been a good fit with what we're going to be talking about later with Montreal injuries and who might go there. He wouldn't have been a bad fit, I thought. But again, interdivisional trades, a lot of people don't like to do them, right, Paul?
No, they're not big fans of it. And
Yeah.
the conditional might be games played. Do you think it'll be games played? How many games he gets in with the Coyotes?
I don't think it's going to be like 20 goals, that's for sure. So
No.
I'm gonna guess it's games played because making the playoffs, I don't think that would be it either, right? That's not in their outlook.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. What else? The Carey Price outburst. Did you see it, Paul?
I did see it, and I think it's great. What
Mm-hmm.
great blocker throws. It was awesome.
So I love Price. I've liked Price before the Habs fans liked Price. He's a great goalie. You knew he was going to become a great goalie. And he's so focused and in the game that this kind of outburst is shocking from a guy like Carey. I was shocked, but I felt bad for him too because another thing I hate is people crashing the net all the time so hard on goalies. What do you want the goalie to do? Why aren't the refs sticking up for the goalies of the league? They aren't. They want more goals. I know that. I can see that. But man, oh man, like first off, the goal, I think it was Adam Henrique. He crashed the net fairly hard. I don't think he was bumped at all by Canadian on the goal. And they're saying that the puck may or may not have been going in already as he was bumping Price. In my opinion, he's bumping him. No matter what, if the puck's between his legs as it's going in, it's still going to goaltender interference. And the other thing is, even if it's 50-50 or the puck's going in, why not call a penalty after the goal? Because he still made goaltender interference. I don't think I've ever seen that, maybe once in a blue moon. Refs call a penalty on the goaltender interference and let the goal stand. What about that? Here's a quote, I believe, from Carey Price. He said, "I got run on the first goal, and I wasn't going to take another one. I got fired up, I guess. I'm going to stick up for myself now."
Yeah, do you think there's like an inside message there that he doesn't trust his teammates to stick up for him? Like usually the defenseman should be all over guys, but the fact that he thinks he has to jump in and do it, it's kind of weird.
I don't know. I still think it's more on the referees' fault that they need to protect the goalies, and they should. Oh man, and I'm not too sure who the quote was from for either him or the coach. I think it was Price when he said, "I thought they made the right call. The puck was going in the goal, but I thought they should have called the goaltender interference after the goal." And that's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly the same. I sure don't know why they don't do that. But again, the hockey gods were watching, and the Habs scored almost right after. So I don't know. But again, the other question is, a lot of people are talking, should Price have been ejected? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the refs should have done something beforehand, and it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. But yeah, Price hit him pretty good in the head once, and in the kidneys, it looked like, for 2 more shots, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was pretty fun to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, brought back to like old time hockey where the goalies did stick up for themselves and beat the crap out of guys that were all over their crease.
Yeah. So, I'm happy that Price was sticking up for himself, in my opinion. And somebody needs to stick up for the goalies with crushing it. And again, as I understand too, with the feet sliding right into Price, and again, there was some contact with the Canadians defenseman. But that means the guys are crushing the net too hard. Too many Kreiders in this league right now that think they just go all willy-nilly right into the crease. So I think they should call more goaltender interference plays if guys are just going to crash the net. And even if you get nudged a little bit more and the guy's trying to get out of the way at the last second, buddy, you can't be just crashing the net that hard. It's like, you got to slow down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What's going on with the Vegas Golden Knights ball?
They're kind of having troubles with their trademark. What's going on there?
I don't know. It's so funny because everybody was so pissed off at the unveiling and how long it took, and now this happens. This is where I think, okay, come on, you got to be better than this to now have more of these issues.
Yeah, this is looking amateur hour.
Yeah, this looks pretty bad, and they're saying, like, from what I heard, it's like a day-to-day process with these, things that are ongoing. I think it was Murray Craven. He's the senior VP of Vegas. He was quoted, "We believe at the end of the day, all parties will embrace the fact that we are the Vegas Golden Knights, and this absolutely will work. I hope people don't overact to this at all." I don't know. I don't know what to say at that. I think he's hoping for a lot. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
I still think they're going to stick with it, and they might have to give some extra money to certain, colleges maybe. So we'll see what happens. And then another thing that a lot of people are talking about, and I think it's a bit of a non-issue and people should just move on, is McDavid versus Manning. And again, we all remember Manning was the one that injured McDavid to the long-term injury that he had last year. And he pretty much said that, Manning was looking to maybe do that to McDavid. Yeah, maybe he was, maybe not to the extent of injuring him long term, but in terms of taking him out on a player like McDavid, yeah, he's probably trying to do that, right, Paul?
Yeah, I don't really like that McDavid. These guys have ridiculous memories. Like that happened last year, pretty much almost a full year ago, and he's still chirping and like, why not just? You scored, awesome, play it out. But I think there was a lot of media talk before this game that they were talking back and forth and putting up bulletin board stuff on each other. So maybe he's just got heated over the past day or so.
Yeah, so we're going to put it also, like all these other trending nows that we're talking about, it's all going to be in our game notes. We're going to be posting as well the video where McDavid scores on the power play, but also gives Manning a chirp right after. So they talked about him after, and he stated that he was sticking to his side. And as well, today, Wayne Gretzky also took McDavid's side. Guys are going to be playing superstars harder. That's just the way it is. So he's got to stick up for himself too, right?
Yep.
All right, time for some Team ISO. This week, we're Team ISOing the New York Islanders. Of course, last year we did Team ISO. We Team ISO'd every single team, myself and Paul included. This time, I know you're sick of our opinions, so it's time to get some opinions out there. More analysis from people who actually follow the team. This week's Team ISO guest is Christian Arnold. You can follow him on Twitter at C_Arnold01. Christian is currently writing for the Sports Daily, specifically IslandersInsight.com. We'll also tweet that out to you on @JablamHockey and on our website. But welcome to the show, Christian.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I was looking forward to coming on and talking to hockey today.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to hear what you think of the interesting Islanders and where you stand on what's going on this year.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if you take a look at my Twitter feed and my Twitter mentions, especially since we're recording on the Friday that they re-signed Cal Clutterbuck, it's been an
Hmm.
interesting day to say the least.
Yeah, so Paul was already chirping me because I was like, wow, they're giving a lot of years to a fourth liner. 3.5 million, 5 years per practically for Cal Clutterbuck. Um, Paul's chirping me because we pretty much did the same with your ex, Matt Martin, right? A little bit less in terms of per year cap hit, but it's about the same. Do you think it's a little too much?
Yeah, I think I would agree. It's a lot of money. I know the Islanders really do seem to really enjoy that certain type of style. They like that hard nosed, physical type of hockey, and that's where they've been successful. Obviously, Cal Clutterbuck was part of, what Don Cherry a couple years ago called the best fourth line in the NHL when it was Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck, and Casey Cizikas. Obviously, they've given a long term deal to Casey Cizikas earlier in the summer. Now they give Cal Clutterbuck a long term deal today. Both terms are, as far as money goes, it's a lot of, it might be a little more than I think those two guys would be given by most other teams. I mean, even a guy like Matt Martin, who you could say was very, he was overpaid to come to Toronto or to go to Toronto. And, the Islanders kind of gave that a run for their money with the two off-season signings between Cizikas and Clutterbuck, but they value that. And, I was down at practice today and I spoke with Islanders head coach Jack Capuano, and that's one, and John Tavares as well. And that's one thing that both of them said they really appreciate, admire the hard nosed style of Cal Clutterbuck. He's a leader inside the locker room as well. Capuano went as far as to call him kind of an extension of the coaching staff in the locker room. So obviously, what he does on the ice is valued by the Islanders, but the leadership that he brings to the locker room is also valued by the Islanders. So I think that's kind of where they saw Cal Clutterbuck's value. They saw the physicalness and the tenacity he brings to the ice, but also the leadership and the accountability that he has inside the Islanders locker room. And they, like I said, they value that. They value those character guys, and they're also a team that's loyal. So they treat their guys that they're loyal to very well.
That's saying a lot, especially from the coach and the captain of the Islanders. So, in terms of that, how do you feel he'll be at this age signing that contract and in 4 or 5 years down the road?
I think that's where the concern is going to be if you're the
Yeah,
Islanders. He plays a very, like I said, hard nosed, physical style of hockey. Right
it's
now,
easier to break down the body by playing
exactly,
that way too.
exactly. And the way he plays, he's playing well now. He's playing very well as of late on a line with Casey Zizekas and now Anders Lee, who's been really getting going for the Islanders. But there's only so long you can really maintain that style. So when we're talking the fourth, fifth year of this contract, and he's in his 30s,
Yeah,
it's going to be tough to say how much of that style he's still going to bring. Now he's still probably going to be a great locker room guy at that point, even more so with the age and the veteranness under his belt. But you're right, it's going to be a question of how much is this deal going to impact the Islanders in the future. And there was actually a pretty interesting article by the Hockey News earlier today regarding the deal and the structure of the deal, considering how much money the Islanders are throwing at him. And even down the couple of years, when we hit the 2019-2020 season, the Islanders are going to have a lot of contracts that are going to come up, and they're going to need to re-sign players. A lot of their younger players, their entry-level deals would be up by then. So there's a lot of impact that this Cal Clutterbuck deal has, aside from just 4 or 5 years down the line. And how is he going to be still able to play at that level of tenacity that he plays with?
let's move on to another long-term contract that you guys signed in the offseason in Andrew Ladd. How's it looking so far? And then what do you think will happen later on as well in a few years?
Yeah, I think I mean you talk to a lot of Islander fans, you talk to a lot of people who watch this team. Andrew Ladd has come nowhere near the contribution that you would have expected for the amount of money and the term that they signed him for. There's no doubt about it. You could tell through that October, through that November months that he was really gripping the stick tight. He was not playing with a lot of confidence. Now I will say the last couple games he's starting to come on a little bit. He got a goal. The other night, and I believe it was against the New York Rangers, if I'm remembering correctly. He's starting to get going a little bit. He's starting to produce a little bit more. That being said, it's nowhere near the contribution that the Islanders needed from him, especially considering the role he was replacing. He was replacing Kyle Oposo, basically. There's no question about that. And you look at what Kyle Oposo has done up in Buffalo.
Total opposite.
Exactly. And so it's certainly been a contract that's hurt Garth Snow's offseason so far. I mean, you could say a lot of things about what he's done right or what he's done wrong with the offseason. That is one contract that is coming back to haunt him right now because they're not getting that production. Now, the Islanders and Garth Snow will say that Ladd has traditionally been a guy who gets going late. He got going later in the season last year, and that's kind of the message that Garth Snow was trying to sell a few weeks back when he met with the media, for the first time in a while. So that's kind of what they're hoping. It's tough to say if that's gonna fully come out and it's gonna happen, especially when you're not playing him with a guy like John Tavares, where a lot of people expected him to be playing. They expected him to be on that top line with Tavares, and that's not where he's been. So
who has he been playing with lately?
He's been bouncing around.
They've been cycling all the lines, right?
Yes, I mean that's kind of Jack Capuano's MO. They cycle lines when things aren't going well, and I mean obviously it's been a little bit more stable, but Ladd's kind of played all over the place. And at one point he was playing on the fourth line with guys like Cizikas and Clutterbuck. So I mean that can't help either as far as confidence goes and getting him going, but he's starting to find a little bit of rhythm. That being said, he's got to get going. He's got to start playing, and if this is the way he's playing now, you could say there's going to be some concern down the line when you're getting towards the end of that contract, and the Islanders are still stuck paying him a lot of money, and he's eating up cap space, and where's the production going to be down the line when it's still kind of a question mark now when you expect him still to be at the high end of his game.
Yeah. Let's get into the player that I like to talk about, and I would hope maybe the Leafs can try to get him if they're going to move a guy like JVR and get a nice top four defenseman. What are the rumors right now with Hamonic? Is he not looking to be moved right now, or are the Islanders not looking at all?
I think the line that the Islanders will always give you, and Garth Snow will always give you, and Cap will always give you, is that they're always willing to look at an offer if it makes the team better. That being said, it's a hard. I don't think Hamonic's being moved anytime soon. I think it'd be a hard sell. Obviously, he struggled a little bit too the last couple games. He's really, it's noticeable when he's on the ice for goals against, and he's been on the ice for a few goals against the last couple games, even though the Islanders have been playing well. But it's been a little bit more noticeable. That being said, Hamonic's still one of the Islanders' best defensemen, and he's still right in that age where he's right hitting his prime. He's still one of the best defensemen that the Islanders have right now, and there's no easy way to get rid of him and get fair value. Travis Hamonic brings so much to that blue line that the Islanders need, and to give away one of their best defensemen on the team, even if it's for a top six forward, even if it's for a top line forward to fit with John Tavares, it's a hard sell. At least for me, it's a hard sell to give up a guy like Travis Hamonic because he brings so much. He brings that physicalness in the defensive zone. He brings that offensive touch. He's got that wicked shot from the point. So it's a hard sell to trade Travis Hamonic for really anyone, unless you're getting. I mean, we got to be talking a real long-term guy that's going to play on the wing with John Tavares. It's a tough sell to give away a defenseman. The Islanders' goaltending have been great, but having guys that you trust, a guy like Travis Hamonic in front of you, it goes a long way for the Islanders.
Yeah. I think, JVR might fit well with a guy like Tavares in terms of playing well and JVR actually not living far, growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the other free defenseman wallets that landed for the Islanders in Leddy and Boychuk, how are they doing? Is Boychuk just not playing well lately, and Leddy's still playing all right, or how's it going?
Leddy's been playing well. Again, I think he was playing the other night with Travis Hamonic, and there were a couple times I think they were on the ice for both goals against for St. Louis. But I mean, Nick Leddy, again, he's a young defenseman. He's talented. He's one of the Islanders' best defensemen. He's going. I guess you could say he's going through a little bit of a rough patch at the moment, but still, Nick Leddy is a talented player. You want to see him on the power play. He's been getting some special teams time. So you want to see Nick Leddy's been playing well for the most part. Johnny Boychuk.
Wait, in terms of Leddy,
Sure.
Who's playing above Leddy on the power play right now? Then.
Off the top of my head, I'd have to double check, but he's been out on the ice for power play time. The thing with the Islanders is that they mix and match. So you'll see again, with so many of their lines and so many of their players that they mix and match. But Letty's been out there for the most part more recently. But you've seen guys like Boychuk's gotten some time on the power play, not enough. Maybe for some people's likings. I know DeHaan was kind of tested out there a little bit, so they've kind of gone through a few guys. But I would
think Letty would be the number one option in terms of deep pairings on the power play.
Yeah, you would think so. Nick Letty is a guy who is absolutely responsible in his own end, but also brings that offensive upside, and especially with the Islanders defensemen as of late. I mean, that they've really been early on in the season too. They've been a key part to their scoring. Is you've seen a lot of goals come from defensemen. So Nick Letty certainly is in that conversation. He's been getting power play time and special teams time. And I think you'd like to continue to see that going. Continue to see him get more special teams time, because again, you're right. He's a guy that should be up there. He's a guy that should be playing and getting those top power play minutes for the Islanders. Johnny Boychuk, going back to the original question, he's had nights where he's looked good and his physicalness has worked well, but at the same time, he's had other nights where he's made mistakes and it's cost the Islanders. But for the most part, he plays responsible in his own end. For the most part, he's physical. And of course, Johnny Boychuk has that laser of a shot, and usually when he gets an open lane or when he gets an opportunity to shoot it, they'll 9 times out of 10 they'll probably go into the back of the net. So he certainly brings that to the Islanders as well. So they both played well. Obviously, those were 2 huge off-season additions a few years back, and 2 guys who fell in love with Long Island and playing in New York. So right now they're both valuable commodities for the Islanders, and they're playing for the most part well. You're seeing little mistakes here and there, but they're still playing important minutes and still playing very important roles on the Islanders.
All right, let's look at some up-and-comers. How is Stromer playing so far?
He has had a really interesting year, and I mean, he had a really interesting year last year as well. There was a stretch in November where he was sitting out 2 or 3 games. He was a healthy scratch in November for 2 games, and that certainly was a big story because Ryan Strome, his last 2 seasons, season and a half with the Islanders, obviously his rookie year he had such a strong year, but the last year and this year, at the beginning of the year, he was in Jack Capiano's doghouse for the most part at a lot of stretches. That, like I mentioned, he was a scratch for 2 games, and the Islanders were looking for him to up his game. And Strome has struggled. He certainly hasn't played the best, and really since that first year, his rookie season, he really hasn't hit that level consistently where he needs to be. Now, Ryan Strome has shown flashes, and he's shown that he can be that player that the Islanders need to be. And there's kind of a debate right now whether Strome's current situation, whether you want to call it a funk, or he's been playing a little bit better as of late, but still hard to notice most nights and kind of, plays so-so. But it's kind of a debate now whether it's the system that he's playing or whether it was the development or whether he just wasn't as talented as a lot of people thought he was going to be. There's kind of this real debate right now where he kind of falls, because this is now another player that the Islanders who have drafted high in the last few years, Josh Bailey, Nino Niederreiter, Ryan Strome, obviously. These are guys that the Islanders picked high. They had a lot of faith in. They were first-round picks, and they thought were going to develop, and, may or may not have developed to where they could or where they should be. Ryan Strome falls right into that category because he's, like I said, he has flashes. You can see it in him. He has a strong game. He can get goals when you need him to, but at the same time, he just kind of blends into everything on the ice a lot of times as well. So
gets lost in the shuffle.
Pretty much, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating for the Islanders, and it's frustrating for Strome, who wants to play well. I mean, when he got benched for that second straight game, there were 3 reporters, myself included, who stayed back to talk to him after the morning skate, and you could tell how much he wanted to be in the lineup. You could tell how upset he was that day that he wasn't in the lineup. Yeah, and he's a guy that wants to play. He's a guy who wants to play at the level that he knows he can. For whatever reason, it's just not happening on a consistent level. And, he understands that. It's just, for whatever reason, it's not coming.
Yeah. In terms of up-and-comers that you expect to maybe break out either this year or maybe next year, who's the name out there for the Islanders?
I think right now all eyes are on Michael Dal-Cole down in Bridgeport. I think a lot of people are waiting for him to get the call up. He's had, from what I understand, a pretty successful year so far. I know the other name down there, Josh Hosang, who was low risk, high reward kind of draft pick for the Islanders. A lot of people want to see him get some action at the NHL level, but he's had a kind of a up and down season in Bridgeport. I think Michael Dal-Cole probably is the name that's going to jump right off the bat. He's a guy that a lot of people are expecting to be on the Islanders roster at some point, even if it's just a call-up this season, especially when they were going through that funk. A lot of people wanted to see him up there. But he's an offensive guy. He's a guy that's, for right now, is in the Islanders' long-term future. And they want to see him develop, and they want to see him become the scorer that could possibly play on the Islanders' top line. I feel like when you talk about the Islanders and their prospects, for the last few years, it's always been, all right, this guy is going to be the Islanders' future. He's going to be on the top line, and Dal-Cole is that next guy who people are talking about who should be the Islanders' next star, so to speak, going forward in a few years. And I think the Islanders need him to develop into that. They need him to kind of buck the trend that's been going on with high draft picks, Ryan Strome, Brock Nelson. Anders Lee has finally got it going on. As of late, he's got about 6 goals in his last 8 games. So he's finally starting to get it going for the Islanders. And Brock Nelson started off pretty hot earlier in the season's kind of cooled down. But they need a guy like Dal-Cole who's a prospect, high-level prospect for this team to develop. And he's the guy that I would keep my eye on going forward.
Sorry to break it to you, but I believe Paul and I picked the Islanders to probably maybe hit the basement floor, at least for the Metropolitan Division. So where do you think the Islanders would fall this year? And do you think maybe it's time for at least a little bit of a rebuild, especially if Dal-Cole and maybe Hosang and Tavares is still very young, if they're the core?
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectation going into the season was that they need to make the playoffs again. They should be a consistent playoff contender at this point, because we've heard so much about the rebuild and it finally being over, especially when the Islanders won the playoff series last year against Florida and made the second round for the first time since '93. So, excuse me, you thought that would be the end of the rebuild talk, but really, when the Islanders let Franz Nielsen, Matt Martin, and Kyle Poso go, they lost a big chunk of points that I don't know if Garth Snow and Jack Capuano accounted for as much as it has affected them. I mean, Franz Nielsen being the biggest loss for the Islanders in my eyes this offseason, because he does so many intangibles, and the way he plays and the points he puts up and just his presence on the ice, you can't replace that. And Matt Martin was a great guy in the locker room, but replaceable. Kyle Poso, you were kind of concerned as far as, can he continue with the consistency? He's had some injury problems in the past, and there's some question marks. So you bring in Andrew Ladd, and you're like, okay, maybe that replaces what Oposo brought. Yeah. It was going to be a close one. I think at the end of the day, my expectations at the start of the season were wild card or just sneaking into the playoffs. I felt like the losses there were a lot more than some people accounted for, and I think that kind of proved right early on. Now, Islanders are finally getting going. I don't ask me where they're going to end the season. I don't know if they're making the playoffs. I think they might be in for a run where they catch a little fire right now. They get going. They put some wins in the win column, and they make it interesting. They're not going to make the playoffs. It would be my prediction down the line. As far as a full rebuild goes, it's a hard sell. It's a hard sell, especially to the fan base that's already been kind of through so much as far as the move to Brooklyn and so many years of just being in the NHL basement, where once you got John Tavares and once you got a couple top 5 picks after that, I mean, you kind of should be at the point where you're not in the rebuild anymore. And it's tough to say, all right, we're going to go back to the drawing board and do this all over again, because I mean, you're talking about trying to sell John Tavares on staying through another couple tough years before they go back to being a tough contender. And this is, these next 2 years for the Islanders and John Tavares are so crucial, where a rebuild really isn't an option, I think, if that's the case, because you need to convince Tavares that this is a team that's fully committed to winning a cup. The new ownership took over. I think they've given Garth Snow and Capuano the reins to make a decision while they make decisions while they go through their due diligence. There's reports that they're looking for new team president to come in and kind of oversee things, and that could mean fundamental changes throughout the organization. So
Yeah.
A rebuild, I don't think would ever fly.
Yeah.
I don't think it could fly, to be honest with you, with everything that's gone on with the organization. I think there are certain pieces, especially with the prospect pool that the Islanders have, that should be in play as far as bringing in a top line winger for Tavares, that could start to solve some things. And obviously, maybe new management, whether that's the head coaching position or in the front office, help turn things around.
Yeah, well, if you had an ultimatum, and if the Islanders do fall flat and not making the playoffs, which one out of the two do you think gets let go? Is it Snow or is it Capuano?
I think it would have to be a package deal at that point. I mean, it's hard because they're both are so tied closely together that I don't think you could let one go without the other, especially if there's a team president in place that's saying that's making these changes and making these calls. I think a new general manager and a new head coach would be in order at the same time. I know the fans, especially when the Islanders were going through that rough patch, wanted to see Capuano gone, which didn't happen, obviously. But I think both of them, their heads would be on the chopping block if they didn't make a run in the playoffs this year, if they didn't even make it to the playoffs, because there's no way you can justify keeping either Snow or Capuano after being kind of the darlings of the National Hockey League and kind of going into this season with so much expectation and fall completely flat. You can't. There's no way you can really keep hold of both of them after falling flat on your face, really.
Well, I hope the outlook looks a lot better than what they've done in at least the first 2 months of this season. And that's pretty much it, Christian. I want to thank you for coming on the show. We will also tweet out your info and where you are on IslandersInsight.com, and your Twitter handle again is C_Arnold01. And thanks for coming on the show. Your insight was fabulous.
All right, I really appreciate it. I'm surprised I didn't get a John Tavares to Toronto question, especially with you guys coming from north of the border.
No, I'm not one of those people. I hate. You know what?
Rumors.
Yeah, we have them every year. I understand. I feel bad. I have to stick up for. I'll say it right now. The idiotic fans, they're crazy. But again, the Leafs fan base is so large. There's a stronger chance of having, may I say, delusional fans that any big superstar would come to Toronto. I'm in the right mindset that it would be great if a person like Rick Nash, then Steven Stamkos, and then now Tavares coming to Toronto. It'd be nice, but I don't ever see it coming. So it would be insane to think so.
I'm sure there's some madness in every fan base. Just like I said, you can check my Twitter mentions from today, and that's surely proven with the Islanders fan base. But I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun talking Islanders with you.
Yeah, and check your website. People should check it out. I think you write an article it seems like every day, so you're working hard out there.
Yeah, no, I try to keep myself busy, and we're trying to make this trying to give fans as much coverage as they can get.
Yep, good job, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime in the future.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks so much, and happy holidays.
Yes,
talk to you later.
All right, Paul. Time for our All-Star picks. We both made them, and after do you want to do the poll first, or do we want to do our picks?
Let's do the poll. Let's get the captains out of the way.
Perfect. Let's do this. What do we have first for the Atlantic Division?
The Atlantic Division. The options: Patrice Bergeron, Erik Karlsson, Nikita Kucherov, and Carey Price. Carey Price took it away with 58%.
Yep. I think that was my pick as well.
It was my pick. I'm not a big fan of goalies being captains, but in an All-Star game, anything goes. So, yeah. I think Price definitely deserves it.
And Price is playing that well, so he deserves it for sure.
Were there any write-ins that you could think of? Nobody actually wrote in or commented, but did we miss? Did we miss on anybody?
I don't think so.
No, I agree.
My opinion. All right.
The Metro. Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Wayne Simmons, and John Tavares. Sidney Crosby, 71%, landslide.
Yeah.
The next closest, Wayne Simmons. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I guess your compare really won that landslide on the compare versus that we did.
Yeah, that's right. Take that, Peter.
Yeah. So Crosby easily. All right, what do we got for the Central?
The Central, Devin Dubnyk,
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Kane, Mark Scheifele, and Vladimir Tarasenko, or Pavel if you are Peter. Inside jokes, ha ha ha. Mark Scheifele took it with 53%, with Tarasenko second at 23, Kane at 18, and Dubnyk only at 6.
Amazing. And you know what? I actually think when we did the poll, which was obviously like 5-6 days ago, I think I picked Tarasenko. But for our actual picks that we're going to be talking about, I picked Scheifele. So I was on the fence between those two.
Interesting. I picked Scheifele, and it won by landslide. Cool.
Perfect. Pacific.
Connor McDavid, Ryan Getzlaf, Drew Doughty, and Brent Burns. Connor McDavid takes it with 47%. That was probably the closest one. 47 for Connor McDavid, 33 for Brent Burns, 20 for Getzlaf, and not a single vote for Drew Doughty. I think that's because we had to throw him in for the LA hosting.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been Doughty if it was hosted by, say, San Jose.
Yeah, if it was hosted by any other team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we both picked McDavid, right? So, I'm surprised it was that close.
That is correct, yeah. Brent Burns is having a pretty solid year.
Oh, yeah, I love Chewy. He's great.
Yeah.
All right, that's our poll picks. Hopefully you vote a little bit more than you did this time in 2 weeks when we have our poll in 2 weeks for our next episode. All right, Paul, let's go to our picks. Who do you have for the forwards for the Atlantic Division?
I got Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Nikita Kucherov, your boy.
Yep.
Threw in Jack Eichel from the Sabres.
Wow.
Austin Matthews from the Maple Leafs. Yep. And Dylan Larkin from the Detroit Red Wings.
Wow. There you go. Those are your forwards. Mine, Kucherov, Lightning, Galchenyuk, Habs, Marchand from Boston. Because, again, I think I made my picks a few days earlier. Totally missed in terms of especially Pastrnak, what he's been doing, and he's been on fire. Who's leading the league in goals, Paul? Is it Crosby?
Crosby and Pastrnak, I believe, at 18.
Wow.
So yeah. He's killing it. Everybody loves pasta.
Yep. And then I've got our boy in Toronto, Awesome Matthews, Zetterberg for Detroit, and Marchessault for the Panthers.
Interesting.
Yep. Who do you got on D?
Erik Karlsson. It's a guarantee. He could have been a captain if Carey Price wasn't so dominant. Aaron Ekblad and Shea Weber.
Nice. I have the same as Karlsson, Ottawa, Weber, Montreal as well, and Tampa Bay, Victor Hedman.
Nice. Can't go wrong with Hedman.
Instead of my boy Ekblad, who, again, numbers-wise, it doesn't show you how strong Ekblad is sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And, of course, in between the pipes, we both have Price, right? And who else do you have?
Tuukka Rask.
Nice. I have Craig Anderson.
Whoa.
Yep. I think he deserves it.
Not even just because he's the only senator. That you think he actually deserves it. Wow.
Well, you got Karlsson there, but I still think Anderson's played fairly well, and I think he deserves to be there. I really do.
So where's your Sabre?
That's right. I didn't pick a Sabre because they don't deserve to be there. There's nobody standing up for them.
Whoa. Toronto sends somebody every year, even though they
Matthews,
don't.
Okay, again, if you're looking at points in terms of players, both Matthews and JVR are at least in the top 10. At least in the top 10 in terms of division and points. So
You can just throw Okposo in there? Come on.
No, and I've got, if I had to pick somebody, and if I had to remove somebody, I would have put Ristolainen in. Because I like Ristolainen.
And who would you take out?
It'd be a tough one. But I guess Hedman then. He's got good numbers, but I guess I would take him out and put in Ristolainen. Or maybe even Weber. But Risto, you should see him eat the minutes. I think he's top 5 in the league now in terms of ice time. He's eating up like 27 minutes per game. He deserves it. He's doing really well in the back end for the Sabres.
Yeah.
A rare bright spot. My extras that I had were Radulov, JVR, and if I had to pick another senator, I would have picked Mark Stone.
Wow. I had Radulov and JVR. Yeah, I tossed up JVR and Matthews, and I was like, they got to sell the sport. Matthews.
Yeah. I was going the same way too. I was like almost high on them, but I'd have to go with Matthews. Same thing.
And I had a tough time picking Detroit. There's not a lot of standouts in Detroit.
Clutterbuck is still playing decently though.
Yeah,
he's still doing decent. All right, let's go to the Metro. My forwards, of course, my captain would be Sidney Crosby, Wayne Simmons, Yevgeny Malkin, Nicholas Backstrom from the Capitals, Phil Kessel, and Alexander Ovechkin. I think it's all. Is it all Pittsburgh and Washington?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Sounds like it. All right, what do you got?
Sidney Crosby, my captain. Our captain. Everybody's captain. Team Canada captain. He's just a captain. He should be Captain Universe.
No.
Anyways, Alex Ovechkin, Claude Giroux, Jacob Voracek, which is weird. I have 2 Flyers on an AllStar team. I hate the Flyers.
Wow.
It kind of has to be that way because I'm a Penguins fan. John Tavares and Chris Kreider.
Kreider?
Yeah, he's a write-in, mail-in, any way to get him in. Yeah, I'm a fan of Kreider. I like him.
Wow.
He's got a high point per game.
Yeah,
so.
Well, when you crash the net, you're going to get lots of goals.
Well, yeah. But
All right.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Kreider. Just because he crashed the net on Price, and now you're all upset.
No, he's done it a few other goalies too.
Yeah, everybody does.
He does it on a daily basis. All right, D's.
Even in practice. Sorry, go ahead.
Werenski for the Blue Jackets, I got there. McDonough for the Rangers, and I'm gonna go with Damon Severson.
Wow.
Yeah, who's your D?
I'm going Chris Letang, Zach Werenski, and Justin Falk from the Carolina Hurricanes. That guy gets no props ever.
Yeah, he should get more props. So then, who do you got in between the pipes then?
Braden Holtby and Corey Schneider.
Wow, we both went totally different. My goalies are Cam Ward, because he deserves to be there, folks. Actually, check him out. He's actually been playing very well this year. And another underrated goalie for this year is Sergei Bobrovsky. Both of them playing well between the pipes, and we're both totally off in terms of that. So, of course, again, I didn't pick somebody from the Islanders.
See, you're cheating here.
Yeah, but if I had to, it'd be that crappy guy named John Tavares.
Okay, did you see his goal the other night against St. Louis?
That was outstanding.
He got mauled by Bouwmeester coming over the blue line, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to fire the puck in the net," and then just casually was like, "Point Tavares."
Around, and nobody's on him.
Yeah,
it's like ridiculous. He's like, and then a perfect shot, top corner. Wow.
Yeah, and then just shrugged it off like, "Yeah, I did that," or "Good job, guys," and it was like, nobody else did anything. John, come on, give yourself props.
Yeah,
he has got nobody to play with on the island. It's just brutal.
He would have at least 5 or 6 points more if he had a decent winger.
The fact that when we talked to Christian that they were debating Clutterbuck and their fourth line and spending so much on their fourth line, like, come on, they're wasting money, and they got to get a guy for Tavares, or that guy's gonna walk. He's gonna go somewhere.
Yeah, free agent, man.
Yeah.
He was saying at the end of there. Maybe Toronto. No, he's not coming to Toronto. Like, yes, it would be great if he did, but I still don't see it happening. He can go anywhere. He could go anywhere. Why come here with the scrutiny? But again, we're trending upwards, so maybe you never know.
All right, onto the central. Onto the central, Peter.
You didn't have any extras? My extras again were Holtby and Cam Atkinson. He deserves a little praise for the CBJ.
I had Bobrovsky as my extra, but I need to fill in the Devils with Schneider.
I think Severn's doing pretty good there. All right, Central. Who are your picks for forwards?
Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, Patrick Laine, our captain Mark Scheifele, Tyler Seguin, and Nathan McKinnon.
Wow, I think we're almost identical except for McKinnon, which of course I didn't pick anybody from Colorado.
Oh, you cheater! You just cheat. Right.
So Patty Kane, Seguin, Tarasenko, Scheifele captain. Laine, and Marian Hossa. He deserves to be there the way he's still playing so well with his age. He's great. Who do you have on D?
Dustin Byfuglien, Kevin Shattenkirk, and Duncan Keith. I'm not too sure about Duncan Keith. I don't know if I want to keep him there.
I know you don't like him. He's a bit of a rough guy, right?
Yeah, and he gets so much props for playing lots of
Yeah.
minutes, and there's so many guys that play lots of minutes. Why does he get all the praise?
Well, I've given some praise to other guys.
Yeah, I know.
They deserve it. I'm doing the same with Shattenkirk and Keith, and my third is Suter. Again, he eats lots of minutes, Paul.
Nice.
All right. Who do you got between the pipes?
Devin Dubnyk and Pekka Rinne.
Same here. So we're pretty similar in terms of the Central. If I had to pick somebody from Colorado, I would have picked Eric Johnson, actually. He's actually having a pretty decent year.
That's
and
terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, why? You think you have to go with McKinnon? Johnson's doing pretty
No,
good.
Matt Duchene you could pick too, but not Eric Johnson. I'm sorry.
He's doing all right. And
so
again,
who would you take out if you had to put Eric Johnson and play by the rules?
Keith or Suter.
Okay.
Because we got guys from both teams with Dubnyk and Rinne and
etc.
So I got still extras, Crawford, Bufflin, and another Hawk. Anisimov is also playing well. Right, Paul? He deserves to be there.
No. Compare. You lose. Simmons wins. It happened in the Jablam poll. And shout out to Jamie Benn. Poor guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't even make the All-Star game for either of our teams.
No, he doesn't.
I have a feeling he'll be there.
He could be. All right, Pacific. My forwards, of course, we all know the captain, Connor McDavid. Pavelski is also doing well. Getzlaf. I've got Jeff Carter from the Kings. Bo Horvat from the Canucks. If I had to pick somebody, I guess I do. I'm picking Verbata for the Coyotes.
Wow.
What do you have?
I have Connor McDavid, McJesus, McD, the new kid on the block. Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, he's got to be there. Joe Pavelski, Ryan Kessler from the Ducks. I think he deserves it more than Getzlaf.
Ooh, that's a tough one. All right, go ahead.
Because I have to, Daniel Sedin from the Canucks.
Yep.
And the Professor, Leon Draisaitl.
Wow, I'm picking him too. All right. I had him in my extras, so that was tough. So then obviously another extra that I had was OEL. And who's your D, Paul?
OEL. Brent Burns and Drew Doughty.
Perfect. Mine are Chewbacca Burns, Fowler, and Drew Doughty. Nice. And then our goalies, yours, obviously not Chad Johnson.
Cam Talbot and Martin Jones.
Yep. You've got Talbot. I don't have Talbot. I have the hot streaking Chad Johnson.
Oh, jeez.
Why not? He's playing that well, Paul. Like I said at the beginning of the year, he's going to outplay Elliott, and I'm right so far. He is playing outstanding.
You know what's funny? Brian Elliott made it because he had a hot start in the All-Star game 2 years ago, was it? Was it 2 years ago that Brian Elliott made it?
Yeah.
And he was the big tweet guy that did the selfie on the shootout breakaway challenge.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Maybe Johnson can do the same.
My other extra is Sekera has been decently playing well for the Oilers in the back end. That nobody ever talks about Oilers defense, obviously. Who do you have for extras?
I really like Oscar Klefbom on the Oilers. If we had to go with a defenseman from the Oilers.
Yep.
Other extras, I guess Getzlaf was debated on, but no, I think Ryan Kessler's having a pretty decent year with the Ducks.
All right, let's move on. All right, trade rumors. We're only going to talk about the specific one because everybody's wondering what's going to happen with the Habs. Paul, how long are Galchenyuk and Desharnais out for the Habs?
Weeks? Months?
It's 6 to 8 weeks. Ouch.
That's they got to do damage control.
So it's rough. But the Habs still looked pretty good last night, right? So they're doing well, and I think the team might gel together a little bit more when Price is sticking up for himself. I don't know, maybe. But again, they got to be happy it's not Price that's out, right? So again, that's two big centers, especially a top center like Galchenyuk, who's playing amazing, out for them. I really thought Holland would have been a nice cheap fit for them, but of course he went to Desert. Who else is out there? I don't know. There's still rumors floating around. One big one, the Bruins, Spooner, they're thinking about maybe trading him. Could he fit with Montreal? I don't know. I don't think so, just because interdivisional trades rarely happen. And then the other big one, and this is a doozy, if this were to happen, there'd be a lot of things moving, a lot of parts, maybe Markov, and that's RNH. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins rumors, and he's been cold all season, so maybe he needs a change of scenery. I know he's cold because he was being the keyword, was on my fantasy team. Any other players you think maybe, Paul, could go into the Habs?
I think they might just fix it within, and they might move Radulov from right wing to center. I don't think Thomas the Turtleneck Plekanec can fit in for 6 to 8 weeks on the top line.
That'll be rough. Yeah, I didn't even like them resigning him.
I really want to see what they do with Arturi Lehkonen. I hope he gets more playing time. He has shown that he can play against men. I think he played in the Liga last year, and definitely played well. It was either the Liga or the SEL, one of the two. Can't think of it right now, but yeah, he has already played with men, so he should fit in to at least a second line role and bump him up.
Yeah. All right, we don't have time. Sorry, Paul. This week,
come on.
Fantasy up and down. We don't have time. We will try to do that in 2 weeks after our hiatus, but we do have time to just squeeze in Saturday's picks.
Yeah.
Paul, what are you gonna do with the first matchup, which is it the Dallas Stars? Wow, playing early at Philly.
Yeah, you said you liked early games a couple of weeks ago. You were a fan of the
afternoon, games,
Saturday afternoon games.
Yeah, it's rare seeing a team like the Dallas Stars. They're not an original six / Eastern Conference team, so they're playing a little fairly early for that what they're used to.
Maybe that's NBC. Maybe that's NBC pushing that forward. They're kind of fun to watch. They got a lot of offense.
I'm going to go with Flyers on this just because of that. I'm making my picks off the cuff, folks, this week.
Hey, me too, Peter.
All right, what do you have?
I'm going to go with the home team, Flyers. I hate picking the Flyers. It boils my blood.
All right, make sure you're writing these down somewhere in case we forget.
Okay,
all right, next.
You're going to hear me type them then. I'm going to type them right into the machine.
That's fine. All right, next we got the Senators at the Kings. 4 p.m. game. This is a tough one. Senators are still playing very, very well, Paul. What's your pick between Senators at the Kings?
I'm taking the Senators.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I don't think the Kings are playing very well. If it's Budai or who they're playing, Zakhoff maybe.
Zakhoff.
They really miss Quick on that team.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all either. And I was thinking about Senators, so I'm going to go with Senators. They are still playing well, and they're still pretty good away as well.
All right, the big matchup: the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the big bad Boston Bruins. Who are you taking, Peter?
This is tough, but the Leafs usually play bad in Boston, so I'm just going to lean with the Leafs losing in Boston.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tuukka plays really well at home, so I'm going Boston as well.
Yep. Then we have the Colorado Avalanche at Montreal. Habs are missing some important forwards, as we said. And Avalanche, are they playing a fair bit better lately?
They are, but Varlamov just can't find a win. If they play Picard, I think I may lean towards Colorado, but I haven't seen who they are actually starting. I could probably go look it up, but I like Montreal at home.
Yeah, we're both picking Montreal. There. All right. Who is next? After that is your Penguins at Tampa Bay.
Oh, Pittsburgh on the road at Tampa.
And I don't know. Bishop's been looking really shaky too. So I will go with the Penguins on this. Yeah.
I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to follow suit and pick Pittsburgh as well.
Yep. Then we got the Canucks. Are they playing better? I don't know. But they're playing at the Florida Panthers.
Just Luongo revenge game?
Yeah.
Can we still call it that? It's been a couple years.
No, we can't call it that.
Can it be Markstrom's revenge game then? Come on. It's got to be a revenge game of some sort.
All right.
Good Branson. Oh, yeah, good Branson revenge game.
He's playing, and he's playing better lately, especially after what happened with this whole Toronto thing. But I'm going to go with the Panthers.
I as well. We're taking a lot of home teams, Peter.
Yeah, well, home teams are playing well, just like this next one. The New York Islanders at the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets are playing so well. They could lose this game, but I'm just going to go straight up Blue Jackets. They're Are the Blue
Bobrovsky's.
Jackets for real? It looks like it right now.
Yeah, it sure does. They somehow are picking up wins, and yeah, the Islanders are 6-2-2 in the past 10. But I'm sorry, Christian, our guest this week. I'm taking the Blue Jackets.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one. Is it the Predators at the Coyotes in Arizona in the desert?
You're questioning it like you're not looking at the schedule right now.
I don't know, but this is... Well, I'm flipping through, obviously, between checking who was playing yesterday and what they're doing in the standings, because the Predators aren't very good at all away. And the Coyotes are still decent at home.
Max Domi's out, though. Likely out. I'm not sure if it's a guarantee out, but he's likely out.
This is an interesting one. I have no clue, but I'm just going to go with the home team on this and go with the Coyotes. This is a flip. This is a flipping of the coin.
There we go. We got a different pick. I think we've gone the same all the way through until now. I'm taking the Predators.
Yep. Good. That's good. All right. Then we have Winnipeg at Calgary.
Or are you picking your hot boy? Your hot boy that you really like?
My hot boys. What are you, quoting Lil Wayne from back in the day with Cash Money?
You know me too well. That's exactly who I'm quoting.
We all know Paul doesn't listen to a lot of music, so he's probably not quoting that. And Calgary's actually not that good at home, but they are on fire right now, which they should be because they are the Flames, and I'm going to go with the Flames.
Interesting. Another different one. I like Winnipeg way too much. Big fan of the Peg right now.
All right. So we got two different, and of course, people, if you're gonna pick with use our picks as ideas with making your picks, follow Paul's specifically on these West Coast games, because we all know that for some reason we should just look at the ratio of my West Coast games, my late games, because they are pretty bad. But I hope this is right with the last one, Carolina at San Jose. I gotta go with the Sharks.
Interesting. I'm actually going Carolina, so look out, bud. The last three games are completely opposite. This is going to be very telling. Very telling what happens here.
Yeah. Take Paul's picks, people. If you're going to follow us, take his picks for the West Coast games, because I'm almost always losing, especially against Paul in the late games.
And I'm up 3 on the season. I got 46 and 31. You have 43 and 33. So not too shabby. Wait, the math doesn't add up there.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. But again, if it wasn't for those West Coast games, right, Paul, I'd probably be killing you, right?
Yeah, I'm looking back at our charts, and yeah, every bottom half of our picks, you have red and I have green.
I know.
So pretty much a given. You don't even need to look at the schedule. You can see when the West games start. The 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock games. So you're just brutal, Peter.
Yeah. So again, check out our website for our Saturday's picks. They're going to be out there soon tonight, right, Paul? And well, obviously you're listening to this podcast on Saturday. And yeah, hopefully you liked our episode. I'm glad we had Christian on the episode to help us with the Team ISO for the Islanders. We are going to be taking a hiatus for next week, and we'll be back in the following week. Paul will have some fantasy up and down then. And hopefully we got some more other stuff, and we will be doing some Jam Junior hockey update stuff. Probably be talking about Team Canada's roster, so it'll probably be settled and ready to go as the tournament's coming in the end of the month.
Yeah, World Juniors, can't wait.
It's going to be fun. All right, and again, please resubscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. We're out there. Check us out on Facebook, Jam Hockey, same thing on Twitter. See you next time, folks.